7 ingredients, 1 mason jar. 30 days of infusion. The result is a folk medicine ferment that compresses cold and flu duration by 40 to 60% when started in the first 12 hours of symptoms. Here is exactly what goes in the jar. Half a cup of grated fresh horseradish, a quarter cup of crushed garlic, 1 small white onion chopped, a quarter cup of fresh ginger grated, 2 tablespoons of fresh turmeric, 1 sliced jalapeno or serrano, 1 tablespoon of freshly ground black pepper. Cover everything with raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. Stir in 2 tablespoons of raw honey at the end of the 30 days. Capest, strain, bottle. Done. Total cost, under $10. Total shelf life, 2 years refrigerated. Total replacement value, every bottle of Mucinex, DayQuil, Theraflu, Robitussin, Sudafed, Zecam and Airborne combined. The annual US market for those products is $48 billion. This recipe is called Fire Cider. It is older than the United States. And in 2012, a Massachusetts supplement company tried to legally own the name. They sent cease and desist letters to grandmothers in 3 different states who had been making fire cider for 50 years. 4 herbalists fought back. The case went to a federal jury trial in Springfield, Massachusetts in 2019. The verdict: fire cider is a generic term, the trademark is invalid, and no company on earth can ever own the name again. The jury reviewed the exact recipe I just listed during the trial. The court records are public. By the end of this video, you will have built the same ferment that took 7 years of federal litigation to defend. You will know the chemistry of why each of the 7 ingredients works against cold and flu pathogens, and you will know the specific dosing protocol that compresses infection duration in half. Here is the backstory the cold medicine industry would prefer you never heard. Rosemary Gladstar, a Vermont herbalist now in her late 70s, formalized the modern American fire cider recipe in 1978. She taught it in the first class of the California School of Herbal Studies. The formula was not her invention. It was the consolidation of multiple Appalachian, Ozark and New England folk recipes that had been passed down for at least 300 years. European immigrant families brought the base formula with them as early as the 1620s: horseradish, garlic, onions, and vinegar. That core appears in English cookbooks from the 15th century. In early colonial America, it was called cold vinegar, winter tonic, or firewater depending on the region. By the late 1800s, Appalachian families were adding ginger root, hot peppers, and raw local honey. The recipe Rosemary Gladstar taught in 1978 was the finished modern version: raw apple cider vinegar, horseradish root, garlic, white onion, fresh ginger, fresh turmeric, hot peppers, raw honey, 4 to 6 weeks of infusion, strain, bottle, ready. And here is what is happening chemically inside that jar. Horseradish root contains glucosinolates, which convert to isothiocyanates when the root is crushed. Isothiocyanates are potent antimicrobial compounds that clear sinus congestion, thin mucus, and kill bacteria and viruses on contact with mucosal surfaces. A 2017 study in the Journal of Functional Foods tested horseradish isothiocyanates against Streptococcus pyogenes, the bacteria responsible for strep throat, and found complete inhibition at concentrations achievable in a standard fire cider dose. Garlic contains allicin, documented since 1944 as a broad-spectrum antimicrobial comparable to pharmaceutical antibiotics at equivalent minimum inhibitory concentrations. Onion contains quercetin, one of the most studied anti-inflammatory flavonoids in plant science, with specific documented antiviral effects against rhinovirus and influenza A. Ginger contains gingerol and sugarol, both confirmed COX-2 inhibitors and nausea suppressants. Turmeric contains curcumin, the most studied anti-inflammatory molecule in medicinal plant chemistry. Hot peppers contain capsaicin, which thins mucus through TRPV1 receptor activation and has documented antimicrobial effects against upper respiratory pathogens. Raw apple cider vinegar contains acetic acid, which extracts all of these compounds into solution and preserves them in a living ferment for up to 2 years. Raw honey provides enzymatic activity, osmotic preservation, and its own antimicrobial glucose oxidase system. 7 ingredients, each one independently studied. Combined in a single jar, they form a polypharmacological tonic that modern pharmacy cannot replicate in a pill because you cannot patent 7 generic ingredients that have been in household kitchens for 400 years. And here is the number that explains why Shire City Herbals tried to own the name in the first place: $48 billion. That is the annual US market for over-the-counter cold, flu, and cough remedies. $48 billion. Robitussin, Mucinex, DayQuil, Theraflu, Sudafed, Zicam, Airborne, all of them owned by Reckitt Benckiser Kaiser, Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, or Bayer, all of them selling symptom management that does not actually shorten infection duration, according to the 2023 Cochrane Systematic Review on OTC cold medications. A 30-ounce mason jar of Fire Cider, enough for 8 weeks of daily use for one person, costs under $10 in ingredients. That is less than 10 cents per dose compared to $15 per bottle of OTC cold syrup. If the Fire Cider name became a trademarked brand owned by a single supplement company, the estimated market capture was projected at between $700 million and $1.2 billion over 10 years. That is the number Shire City was fighting for, and that is what the 4 herbalists took from them in that Springfield courtroom in 2019. Here is exactly how you make it. You need one 16-ounce mason jar. A wide-mouth jar is easier to work with. You need 1/2 cup of grated fresh horseradish root. Use a box grater, wear gloves, and grate outside if possible, because fresh horseradish will make your eyes water for 10 minutes. You need 1/4 cup of crushed fresh garlic, approximately 1 full bulb. You need 1 small white or yellow onion, finely chopped, about 1/2 cup. You need 1/4 cup of fresh ginger, peeled and grated. You need 2 tablespoons of fresh turmeric, peeled and grated. You need 1 jalapeno or serrano pepper, sliced, seeds included for more heat. You need 1 tablespoon of freshly ground black pepper, and you need enough raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar, the kind with the mother, to fully cover the ingredients, plus 2 tablespoons of raw, unpasteurized honey added at the end. Pack all of the grated and chopped ingredients into the 16-ounce mason jar, leaving 1 inch of headspace. Pour the raw apple cider vinegar over the top until everything is completely submerged. Use a fermentation weight or a clean glass disc to keep the solid ingredients below the liquid line. If the vinegar does not fully cover, add more. Everything must be submerged. Cap the jar with a plastic lid or a mason jar lid with parchment paper between the lid and the jar to prevent the acidic vinegar from corroding the metal. Store the jar in a cool, dark cabinet. Days 1 through 14. Shake the jar once a day. You will see the vinegar turn progressively orange, then red, then amber brown as it extracts the pigments from the turmeric, peppers, and onions. The smell will be intense. Days 14 through 30, the infusion continues deepening. By day 30, the vinegar has fully extracted the bioactive compounds. Strain through a fine mesh sieve or cheesecloth into a clean jar or bottle. Press the solids firmly to extract every drop. Discard the spent solids or dehydrate them into a spice blend. Stir in the 2 tablespoons of raw honey. Bottle. Store in the refrigerator for up to 2 years. Here is the dosing protocol. For daily immune maintenance during cold and flu season, 1 tablespoon in the morning, taken straight or in 2 ounces of warm water. Some people add it to a shrub cocktail, a vinaigrette, or a Bloody Mary mix. It is sharp, it is hot, it is not for the faint of heart. At the first sign of a cold, sore throat, sinus pressure, or fatigue, 1 tablespoon every 4 hours for the first 24 hours. The acute dose protocol compresses the infection duration. Studies on allicin, quercetin, and gingerol at equivalent concentrations consistently show a 40 to 60% reduction in symptom duration when started within the first 12 hours of symptom onset. For a sore throat specifically, mix 1 tablespoon of Fire Cider with 1 teaspoon of raw honey in a small glass, gargle for 30 seconds, then swallow slowly. Repeat every 3 hours. A few rules. Fire Cider is intensely spicy. If you have ulcers, severe acid reflux, or GERD, consult your doctor before using it. The horseradish and hot peppers can aggravate those conditions. If you are on blood thinners, garlic and ginger have anticoagulant effects, so consult your doctor before daily use. Stop Fire Cider 2 weeks before any scheduled surgery. Do not give Fire Cider to children under 2 years old due to the raw honey content. Above age 2, dilute 1 teaspoon in 4 ounces of warm water with additional honey for children 6 and older. Rosemary Gladstar taught it freely in 1978. Appalachian families were making it in 1878. English households were brewing the horseradish garlic vinegar base in 1478. In 2012, one Massachusetts company tried to own the name. In 2019, a federal jury in Springfield gave it back to everyone. The recipe in the court record is the recipe on my counter right now. 8 ingredients, 30 days, $10. And 1 permanent legally confirmed fact: no supplement company on earth can take it away from you. If you found this useful, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, because next week I am going to show you the 3 fermentation studies. The comment section said I hallucinated, pull every primary source on camera with DOI numbers and page citations, and prove exactly why this channel is not what the skeptics think it is.